Imagine a typical elementary classroom. Amid the noise and color, one student sits completely rigid. Their eyes constantly scan the room, tracking every movement, physically pulling away from the chaos around them. When a teacher walks by and gently pats their shoulder, the child visibly flinches. And when they drop their supplies and get frustrated, they don't look up for help. They actively turn away from anyone trying to offer comfort. You rarely see them smile or light up during a fun activity. Instead, they carry a baseline of unexplained irritability or deep sadness, even when interacting with a teacher they have known all year. This creates a baffling wall for educators. Teachers are trained to nurture and support, but when every standard method of connection is actively rejected, it leaves even the most experienced professionals feeling helpless. Faced with a student who won't listen, won't connect, and seems constantly agitated, schools naturally reach for familiar categories. Written up for defiance, evaluated for ADHD, dismissed as attention-seeking. Once those labels are applied, the standard disciplinary machine kicks in. The student is sent to detention, placed in timeouts, or tracked on a strict demerit system meant to curb the disruption. Look at this loop to see why these traditional consequences backfire completely. Because the school is treating a condition the child doesn't actually have, every punishment applied only ramps up their anxiety, which in turn worsens the exact behavior the school is trying to stop. The hidden driver behind this cycle is Reactive Attachment Disorder, or RAD. It is one of the most complex, deeply misunderstood conditions operating inside the K-12 system today. Punishing a child with RAD doesn't teach them a lesson about compliance. It provides them with hard proof of their darkest internal narrative, that adults are adversaries who cannot be trusted. To understand why, we have to leave the classroom and look back at the critical developmental window between birth and age 5. During the first 5 years, predictable caregiving builds the brain's foundational architecture for trust. But when a child experiences severe neglect or chronic instability, that crucial circuitry never gets constructed. The brain encodes a permanent lesson. Adults are unreliable, so you are entirely on your own for survival. RAD is the physical outcome of this interrupted development, a missing piece of biological infrastructure required for human trust. Bring that understanding back to the elementary classroom. When we observe the student through this developmental lens, their reactions suddenly make sense. They stopped reaching out because their earliest experiences proved that reaching out was useless. The immediate flinching, the constant scanning of the room, and refusing a teacher's warmth function as protective shields against a world of adults they view as completely unpredictable. What looks to a frustrated educator like stubborn, intentional defiance is actually a traumatized child executing the only survival strategy they possess. Effective intervention requires moving away from standard behavioral consequences and focusing entirely on repairing the adult-child relationship. Because the brain remains responsive to consistent safety, the missing infrastructure for trust can be built later. Attachment can be repaired. The work happens through specialized attachment-based therapy. It requires steady, relentlessly patient connection, alongside targeted coaching for both the caregivers at home and for the teachers in the classroom. As this pathway shows, before any of that work can start, a meticulous, trauma-informed evaluation by a licensed clinician is the mandatory first step to ensure the child is actually dealing with RAD. Ultimately, solving this requires the adults and the school system to adapt their framework to the child, rather than demanding a traumatized student spontaneously comply with standard rules. This is where MentalSpace School comes in. We equip Georgia K-12 schools with licensed clinical partners needed for these specialized evaluations and continuous support. We offer immediate operational relief by assigning dedicated therapist teams directly to your school, providing same-day teletherapy for rapid, highly effective intervention. And we remove the cost barrier for families. Care through Medicaid is $0, and we accept a wide range of major commercial insurances. Beyond individual students, our teams deliver staff wellness programs, along with family counseling and crucial structural support to ensure your district hits the upcoming HB 268 compliance deadlines. Bringing in culturally competent, licensed mental health support gets traumatized students the exact tools they need to rewrite their futures. Visit mentalspacesschool.com or email us today to begin the partnership.